Welcome back, my friends. Step inside, take a deep breath, and prepare yourself. Because tonight, the line between certainty and terror is thinner than you think. This isn't just a story. It's a revelation, a tale of arrogance, laughter, and the kind of fear that burrows deep into the soul. You see, there are always those who treat life as a joke. The ones who chuckle at the unknown, sneer at the whispers in the dark, and mock what they fail to understand. And oh, how they laughed, how they scoffed, sitting across from that psychic, tossing your name into the fire like it was nothing more than a plaything. "Tell us about them," they said, smirking. "Let's hear some nonsense about their fate." But fate does not take mockery lightly, and neither does the truth. Because what happened next? It wiped the smiles right off their faces. The moment the psychic's expression darkened, the moment their voice faltered, the moment the very air turned heavy, that was when everything shifted. They weren't expecting it. They weren't prepared. The room grew cold. The silence thickened. The psychic's breath hitched. Their fingers trembled. And for a second, just a second, the world itself seemed to hold its breath. Because your name, your presence, it carries weight. A weight that bends reality. A weight that even the unseen must acknowledge. They thought they were playing a harmless game, but the psychic saw something. Something they couldn't unseen. Something they couldn't even speak. They tried, oh, how they tried, to warn them. But some things are beyond words. Some things are too vast, too terrifying, too real to be spoken aloud. And that's when the laughter died. That's when their arrogance dissolved, leaving only wide eyes, pale faces, and a gnawing, suffocating dread. Because they felt it, the weight, the shift, the invisible force pressing against their bones, and for the first time, they understood. You are not a joke, not a name to be tossed around in foolish amusement. You are something else, something beyond their comprehension, something they cannot laugh away, cannot explain, cannot escape. And that is why they are afraid. They assumed you were ordinary, just another name, just another face in the crowd. But they failed to realize the truth. You are a force. You are the unspoken. You are the unknown that lingers beyond the edge of understanding. And when they summoned your name in jest, the universe responded. Not with anger, not with violence, with something worse. Because silence, true silence, is deafening. It is a void. It is a verdict. It is an answer more chilling than any scream. And now they live with it. The unease, the unanswered questions, the feeling deep in their bones that they made a mistake. And the best part? Fear. Fear grows. It doesn't strike once and vanish. It lingers, it festers, it takes root in the darkest corners of the mind and spreads. Now, every shadow stretches too far. Every whisper in the wind is too distinct. Every dream is too vivid, and it won't stop. Because now, they can't unsee it. At first, they tell themselves it's nothing, just paranoia, just nerves, just a trick of the mind. But deep down, oh, deep down, they know. Something is watching, something is listening, and worst of all, something is waiting. They feel it in the air, static before a storm. In their chest, a weight they cannot shake. In the silence, a presence just beyond reach. And that is true power. Not loud, not forceful, not violent. Power that exists. Power that lingers in the air like an unfinished sentence. Power that doesn't need to be seen or heard. because it is felt. And no matter how much they try to convince themselves otherwise, no matter how many times they tell themselves it was just a game, they will never forget. Because fear, once planted, never truly dies. They lit the fire themselves. They laughed as they struck the match. They summoned your name, thinking they were in control. But the thing about fire, it doesn't just light the way, it attracts things. And now something has noticed them, and they wish they could take it back. They wish they could erase that moment, but fear doesn't play fair. It waits. It seeps into the cracks of the mind. It turns ordinary moments into waking nightmares. A shadow that shouldn't be there. A whisper too close to the ear. A sudden chill that makes the heart race. And the thought that will haunt them for the rest of their days. What if the psychic saw something real? What if there is something about you they were never meant to know? What if, by speaking your name, they didn't just receive an answer, they awakened something? Oh, but you already know the truth, don't you? They didn't just awaken something, they invited it. And invitations, they cannot be revoked. Because now, something lingers, something unseen, something that does not forget. Every creaking floorboard in the dead of night, every flickering light, every inexplicable shiver crawling down their spine. They tell themselves it's nothing. They cling to logic, to reason, to the illusion of control. But deep in their gut, they know. This is not over. It never was. Because once you've touched the abyss, once you've acknowledged what lies beyond the veil refuses to close again. And the worst part, the truly horrifying part, it was never the psychic they should have feared. It was you. If you are not just a name, not just a place in the darkness, it was you, or the Refinder, one class. The reminder that some things cannot be laughed away, that some doors, once opened, never truly close. You are the presence in their silence, the weight in their chest, the force that lingers just beyond the edge of sight. And now, every time they hear your name, their pulse quickens, their breath hitches, their mind flashes back to that moment, when the air grew thick, when the psychic hesitated, when their laughter turned to unease, because now your name is no longer just a name, it is an omen, a warning, a scar burned into their subconscious, whispering a truth they are too afraid to face. They thought they were the ones in control, but the second they spoke your name, the second they mocked what should never be mocked, the second they stepped too close to the edge, they lost that control forever. And the silence that follows them now? It is not empty. It is not harmless. It is watching, waiting, and it will never, ever let them go. But silence, true, suffocating, unnatural silence, is not the absence of sound. It is the presence of something else, something unseen, something waiting, and they feel it. It lingers in the air, pressing down like unseen hands, curling around their thoughts like smoke. It is the weight behind every breath, the reason their fingers tremble when they reach for the light switch, the whisper of doubt that gnaws at the edges of their sanity, because now they are aware. And awareness is the beginning of fear. Oh, how they try to fight it. They speak louder, laugh harder, drown themselves in distractions, anything to smother the creeping dread slithering through their veins. But fear does not need volume. It does not need movement. Fear is patient. It waits for them in the quiet hours of the night, when the world is still, when their defenses are weak, when their minds, no longer clouded by the noise of the day, finally listen. And that's when it happens. A shadow too tall, stretching in the wrong direction. A whisper just beneath the threshold of hearing. A breath, not their own, stirring the air behind them. Nothing concrete, nothing tangible, just the knowing. Because fear doesn't announce itself with a scream. It unravels them. Thought by thought, doubt by doubt, until they no longer trust their own reflection. Until every mirror feels like a doorway, until the silence feels too full, until their own mind becomes the cage they can never escape. And that is the final lesson. They thought they could mock the unknown, but now the unknown is staring back, and it never blinks.